There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever intertwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers or people said to be able to speak to the dead. We all have our own belief systems. We all have our own truths. So let us possibly bend those truths a bit with some insights and perspectives that may be a bit different than yours, or even give yourself validation for what you see as true. Come sit with myself and the best of the best in research, teaching, discovery, and practitioners of the day. My name is Bear Medicine Walker, and I welcome you to Spiritually Paranormal.
Where's Bear? Where'd she go? Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's another Wednesday, the middle of the week.
Oh, right after 4th of July.
Yeah, did you get to enjoy that full buck moon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh. That was huge. A lot of energy. Couldn't sleep. It was so close. Did you see it go out like, I actually went outside at 1 o'clock in the morning and had a discussion with her because I couldn't sleep. There was too much energy. Did you
My
charge
body
it up?
ached. I was having a lot of aches and pains, just mysterious, like out of nowhere. Like, where is that coming from? Go away.
I had that discussion. I was not a happy person. Oh, we got some people in today. Hello,
Yeah,
Salt a Blind Guy.
that's
Hi.
Andrew.
Okay, welcome, Andrew. And then Karen, I see you. Oh, Bex and Sean aren't here today, Karen. It's just Bear and Miss Holly, our raven wolf, our bird wolf, our wolf bird. I call her all kinds of names.
Bird, that's usually what you call me.
Yeah. And oh, Margaret, she finally got to put up her artwork in over in Scotland. Oh, she's going to do it in the end of the month. And it's going to be on display for 4 weeks. I'm so proud of her. She does
That's awesome.
Yeah, she does some really cool like pours and stuff like that. The acrylic pours. It's really cool. She sent me a couple pieces. So, and hi Sharon Ellis, Angie Farney, how are you? Karen, hi Karen. And Claire. Hi Claire. So,
hey, everybody.
we're going to talk a little bit today about some things that have kind of come up recently and just, how we deal with things, how to deal with things that pop up in our lives. And
hey, Lindsay.
One of the first things that I want to talk about, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but it's voodoo.
What was it? What'd you say?
Voodoo. Look,
voodoo. Voodoo. I don't do no voodoo. I might threaten to do some voodoo, but I don't do any voodoo.
I have a friend who named her dog Voodoo because her neighbors thought she was crazy witch down in New Orleans. She called me. She said, "Do you think I should do that?" And I said, "Yeah, why don't you?" And it fits him. She calls the dog. She goes outside, Voodoo.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, voodoo. That has always been like spooky magic for me. I like nope, not doing it.
Well, I've kind of followed it, but it's like a faith, basically. It's a religion, and it comes from, believe it or not, 6,000 years ago in 2 parts of Africa. And it's their religion, and it's how they connect with their divine beings or the spirit lands. And actually, and I found this amusing kind of doing the research because I was wondering, I hadn't really looked at it in a long time. And it's the Catholic Church that kind of divided it and said it was superstitious and evil, which, I'm sorry, I was born and raised Catholic, but, they're full of it. So basically, it started out as a religion, which I thought was really interesting. And then, because all the white people went over and got all these black Africans and picked them up and threw them in ships and brought them to the Americas in the 1600s and made them slaves. They brought their religion with them. So they did their religion. Their religion consists of doing trance work. It does involve what people would consider magic, like powders and different things that they use, but they also work as medicine people, which we have in many cultures, the Druids, the Native Americans, you can go all around and they all have their own form of it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It is, but it's just spooky for me. I just kind of like, I'm not going to mess with things I don't know a whole lot about, because I don't like opening those doors when you don't know what's behind that door. So I'm like, nope, I've got enough doors of my own.
I respect it. I respect their traditions. I'm not scared of it. I don't mess with it because it's not what I do. It's not how in my culture that I do, but I do respect it. And it's interesting because it does date back to like 6,000 years. I was actually shocked. I was like really shocked. And then when the Catholic Church is the one that came in and kind of put their nose in it, was once the slaves reached the U.S. And that's why they condemned it, because they wanted to be the church, right?
Right.
So, they would do that on plantations. They'd sing, they'd dance, but it was outlawed. So if they got caught, they could actually get hung.
Right.
Okay? They did use voodoo dolls, which, I mean, look at them. They pretty dang scary. They look like, I mean,
do you remember that crystal doll I made when I was doing the Tongren?
No.
I remember the Tongren. I went to the Tongren teachings, and they have these little rubber dolls with all the acupuncture points all over them.
Oh, yeah.
And so after I'd gone there, and they would hammer on the pressure points that were needed for whatever it was they were working on. And so while I was there, I was like, I need to make my own doll, but I'm going to make it filled with crystals. So I still have that. It's in a box lined with smudge and sweetgrass and everything. And I have a little crystal hammer that I can use to do that remote work with.
Well, and that's like anything. So you have a voodoo doll, you can put intent into it and put bad thoughts into it, or whatever you want to call it. Not that I would do that or recommend that, but I mean, that's what people do. It's kind of an outlet.
The karma is not worth it. When you do any kind of bad magic or black magic or whatever you want to call it, whenever you're doing something against someone, that is never a good idea. It's always going to come back and bite you right in the butt. And hey, Jerry.
But that's karma, right? That's karma.
Yeah.
And the thing that I laugh about, and this is why I brought up voodoo. This is what, also, these are effigies, okay? These are effigies in Africa, and this is from within the voodoo culture, okay? And to me, there's nothing bad about them. They actually celebrate the earth and their connections to the spirit lands and all that kind of stuff. But then the reason I brought this up was because recently I had somebody get hold of me and say, I need a spiritual blessing. Because
here we go. A friend of mine, when I left Coldwell Banker, he bought me this and brought it to my office and said I had to keep it in my office to protect me.
Yeah, buddy. I had a friend of mine that collected those. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, no thanks. I mean, it's okay. And again, it's whatever you believe, but you have to put that intent into it. And we were talking.
And I tell you what, I don't know what kind of hair it's got, but I think it's some horse hair.
It looks like coconut inside of the fibers of the coconut.
It does kind of look like that, but it also, if you look close enough, that looks like horse hair.
Yeah.
I've had him ever since. I've had him probably about
That's cool.
9 or 10 years. He's been in every office I've gone into.
That's good. But curses, when you talk about curses and like good luck, bad luck things, people carry rabbit foots for good luck, or different
Yep.
things they use. But the thing about curses is people can do it. They can say the words, they can go through the motions of doing it. But if there's somebody saying you have a curse on you, then you add fear to it, which brings negativity into it, which draws in all kinds of crap.
And then you hyperfixate on what they've told you, and then you bring it into your reality.
Yep. Absolutely 100%. It can cause illness because you're so focused on it. It can cause mental issues, where you're paranoid. And it's like, seriously, are you kidding me? You think somebody put a curse on you? I mean, like, hello. And am I knocking any religion or belief? No, I'm not. But I'm also not going to say, yeah, they cursed me and I can't do this because they made me not be able to.
When I hear people saying stuff like that, and if I hear someone saying that they've actually put a curse on someone, I look at that person as someone who is probably young, very immature, and probably doesn't know a whole lot about what they're doing to begin with. They
That's when it gets dangerous.
dabblers.
Dangerous. That's when it gets really dangerous because they don't know what they're doing. And, the D word, had a big thing. I was, Bishop Long, James Long was talking about this the other day. And people that don't know what they're dealing with shouldn't dabble, because you've got all these entertainment shows on. I mean, they're everywhere, and I'll admit I watch some of them, but you take them with a grain of salt. But if you've got somebody going in there every 10 minutes on every episode that they have, calling in, oh, there's a demon here, I'm being possessed. And then they have people that come in to help rid homes of that stuff. And Cindy Kaza, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's a really renowned spiritual medium. I took a class with her a couple weeks ago just to kind of get the climate of how people were thinking and doing. And she's an amazing young gal. And she's actually taking over on Dead Files. She's a person I would trust, I mean, 100% I would trust. But when you see all these other shows, and then all of a sudden these people think, oh, I could do that. Let's go out on a weekend and go somewhere that's haunted. And, you can get attachments. You can get demons. If people have summoned demons are nasty. And if you think you can handle a demon, get out of Dodge.
Yeah, better think again.
Yeah.
It's even, you got to even be careful if you go to secondhand stores, yard sales, things like that, about what you're picking up, and before you cleansing it before you take it into your home.
Dolls.
Oh, creepy. Creepy.
Old dolls. I went in, this was probably back, I'd say around 2012. I went into an antique store that was up here in my city, and they had a lot. I mean, it's the biggest antique store up here at the time. And I walked in and I thought, ooh, so I could just feel like an ook. And I don't usually like to go like Henry Ford Museum or historical museums that have all kinds of, because you feel all that crap.
Yeah.
And I went in and I was pulled right to this one counter, and I got to the counter and I thought, oh, hell no. They had Native American dolls from the late 1800s, but the way they was like soul catchers. And I do believe that dolls can be used to hold souls. And that's all I could feel. It was so ooky. I actually knew the owner, and I told her, you need to get rid of these. I said, you don't sell them, you get rid of them. I said, they should not be sold because of whatever had been put into them all those years, and then they've been passed and passed and passed. Yeah, no, I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff. Do you like dolls?
No, never have. Even when I was a kid, I didn't play with dolls. No, had no interest in playing with dolls.
Well, and they can make, and I know that's kind of a scary thought, but it does happen. They can actually form an attachment to the doll, and then through the doll, they attach to a human. I had a woman a very prominent woman who was in a very prominent city on the other side of the state. Money came from Money, beautiful home. And she wanted me to come and tour her home. I didn't know any background on the home. And when I went through the home, I kept feeling like it was not originally there. I said, I keep seeing it on logs. And I said, I don't understand that. And so we went through the whole house, and she had all these antiques, so you could pick up different things that were going in the house. And the house was over 100 years old. And I got to this one room, and I was like, I'm not going in there. And she goes, why not? I said, mm-mm. And I looked around the corner, and there was a 4-foot doll standing in the corner, and it was like a clown, like a Gacy. You know how Gacy, they always show Gacy with his face. It was like that, and it was really old, and it was like from the late 1800s. And I go, where did that thing come from? She goes, oh, that's my doll. I got him in New York. I said, why would you? There was nothing in the house like it, right? She goes, that's really weird. I said, what? She says, my husband wants me to get rid of it. It's only been here for 4 months, and my grandkids will not go into the room. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to be around. I said,
don't blame them.
Yeah. Do you think it might be for a reason? She goes, oh, I don't know. I love it. And I'm like, oh God, no. So I saw her husband. I said, you need to take that thing and put it in the burn pile and set that sucker on fire. And he went to put it out. And before the nighttime, she went out. Like she didn't know he had done it. And she went out and got it out of the burning can. And she brought it back into the house. And I'm like,
oh my word. No.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, yeah, that'll creep me out. But
that's crazy. No. Then you have on the other side of it, you have people that are falling for the little love spell scams. Oh my gosh, don't cast love spells and stuff like that. And don't be asking for people to give you a love spell. Love doesn't work that way. And if you do something against someone's will, do you really want someone in your life because there's a spell on them? No.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that it's all crazy, because I mean, every form, like, and this was something else, like voodoo down in New Orleans is different than the original voodoo that comes out of Africa. And it's almost like LaRue, what was her name? Marie Laveau. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. She's buried down the cemetery. Everybody goes down there, and there's candles and gifts all around her crypt and stuff like that. And that's what she did for a living. But she learned from where she came from, out of Africa. So there's just different things. And I'm not saying they can't do things, but, if you don't know about it, like, and haven't studied, and this was the issue with Bishop Long, was you don't know what we have to go through to learn how to deal with demons or curses or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
They're real. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get screwed. You're going to it's going to attach to you, and then you have a problem. And people are like, oh, they're not real or whatever. And yeah, I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure you've come across a few in your lifetime. I've come across 3, and I have no interest in coming across them again, ever.
No.
It's crazy. I immediately got a hold of elders that knew how to deal with it. Did not want to deal with it. It was ugly. It was powerful. It had a name. I do not say the name, and I do not want them in. I mean, like, why would people want that? And they're like, what they do, like Bishop Long was saying, is when they come and you summon them, right? Oh, I saw it on TV. Let's go try this.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing you can do. Like I saw it on TV, or I saw it on YouTube, or wherever you saw it. Don't go just doing things because you saw someone else do it. You don't know the true outcome of what happened. And when you don't know, and your intent is mixed up, or you don't have the right intent, your world could come crashing down completely, and you could just open a portal of all kinds of crap to come into your life.
And portals and vortexes are a fact. They do exist. Science has proven they do exist.
Yeah.
What's on the other side of them? They have no idea. They have no clue, but it's there. And it's like a hole in time. the black holes. You can see, in astronomy, like NASA, you could probably go to the NASA site and pull up black hole, and you can see whole universes get sucked into a black hole. And it's like, it's not something you want to mess with at all, at all. Oh, Lord. Okay, so you were saying you got your figure thing for protection. Somebody gave it to you for protection.
Yep. He brought it to me to protect me and keep me safe since he couldn't keep an eye on me anymore.
Well, what else do you, obviously you use that, but, before
I'm always wearing my hematite. I keep crystals around that help keep the energy pure and clean, grounding stones, things like that at hand whenever I need one, or if I'm in a place, or if I'm feeling that yucky energy. There's just a number of things that you can do to rid yourself or protect yourself from that energy. And if someone tells you, like you were saying, that they've put a spell on you, or somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, I feel like someone out there has put a spell on you," they probably have some sort of intention. The person telling you has an intention, a bad intention. They're probably trying to scam you from some money. I have friends that have fallen for it over the years, and they've let loose of hundreds of dollars because they wholeheartedly believed that this person knows somebody that put a spell on you. And it's just ridiculous because you can protect yourself and you don't have to believe it. The more you believe it, the more you're bringing it into your reality.
That's like 100% true. And you remember when we were on radio, I don't know if, I'm sure you remember this, we've actually probably talked about it several times, is how people psychic hop. Okay, if you go to somebody, you need to, number one, look at who they are. Number two, you need to kind of do a little bit of investigation, like how long have they been doing this? What are like the people that have gone to them? Are there like reviews or whatever? Before you go on and just take somebody and say, okay, I'm going to take you at your word. And even then, when you do and I do, when we give readings, it's about what you need in a positive way. That's how I work at that time. That's what I'm asking Spirit to bring through. That's what we ask Spirit to bring through.
How can I help this person right here, right now, in this moment, with this particular whatever it may be?
And it's all based on choice. We all have free will and choice. And that's what and that's the same thing with curses. If you
hold on, how many times have you told someone, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they freaking go and do it anyway? Mm-hmm. They don't take your advice, they don't listen, and then they come back to you a few months later whining and crying because their whole world fell apart because they did what you told them not to do. Or because they didn't do what you told them to do. Oh my gosh. All the time.
But then they go and they hop because they're not really sure they want the answer we give them. So they go hopping to all these people.
Yep. They want to hear what they want to hear.
And that's actually funny because I actually told somebody this story the other day. I love Lizzie Starr. She's my sister. Her and her husband, Sean, they are my older brother and sister, and they're family to me. And they've been to my home multiple times. They met Sin multiple times, and they're here in the U.S. again. But one of the things that she called me one day, and we laughed about it so long, I swear to God, I thought I was going to pee my pants. She says, I've been sitting here with these dumb cards. She says, and every time I put it out, it's telling me the same thing. And I started laughing, and she says, will you do like a mini card? Sure, I did it. It came out with the same thing. She goes, doesn't matter how many times I do it, it's still telling me the same thing. And we laughed because even us, you and I, and people that are in this line of work, sometimes we want answers too, although I don't really seek that out a lot, but every now and then
I used to go, like, I used to get readings all the time, waiting for the thing that resonated with me.
Yeah.
And no one I would never get what I wanted, what I was looking for. It's not like I was looking for anything particular. I was looking for that thing that felt right. And then somewhere along the line, I started just trusting myself.
Yep.
And I never asked another soul for another reading.
Yep. I haven't. said things to me while we're on air, and or I'll say things, but I'm not seeking out people. And
Right.
it's very, you have to be, this is the way I kind of told this person the other day. Okay, so when you go to a doctor, or say a surgeon, right? You want that surgeon to be qualified to be able to do the work that you're going to them for.
Right.
If you have a nurse, you want them to be qualified to be taking care of you in the hospital for whatever you're having done, right? If you
Right.
go to a lawyer, you want to make sure the lawyer has law school, has been doing whatever kind of law that you need legal help with, right? So when you go to a person that can do readings for you, and I laugh because there's like, well, no, I'm a psychic, well, no, I'm a medium, well, no, you know what, I don't call it anything, because I can bring whatever comes through, and it might be different on one day than it is the next.
Right.
So, but you want that person that you're going to have some kind of experience in it.
Right.
Not taking classes, because this is not something that,
I don't think it's something, it's something you hone, not something that you can really teach.
Well, I'll say this out loud because she's actually switched up her thing. Doreen Virtue was really big with the angels and the masters, and she went into Hay House and she sold like crazy. Her classes were like, come with me and learn how to read angel cards, and it's like $500. I'm sorry, you're not going to, who taught you? Like, no, that's not what it is. And she's actually since converted, and the only reason that you can find them still is Hay House actually owns the rights to the products.
Right.
But even then, you still need to know who people are, that they're trustworthy. And sometimes, they can tell you things if they're not who they're supposed to be, or haven't had that amount of practice, right? Because I think it's great when people are starting to tune into their intuitive side. I think that's great.
Yes.
I think that 1 or 2 months of doing it with friends and family makes them able to read.
No. I have someone that tries to read me from time to time. I don't ask. They will just pop up every now and then. Oh, hey, I've got a message for you. And it's like they ramble, and they're just grabbing out of thin air and hoping something sticks, and I listen and I thank them and leave it at that. It is what it is. And they're trying, but I feel bad for people that are going to this person because they don't have enough experience.
And that it does make a difference. And I did not do it publicly till I was in my late 30s, and I had been doing it since I was in my teenage years, but I never went public until public until I had all those years. And I actually went to, like you have, to many different mentors, and I would learn and pull from them. And then I would also learn what not to do or what not to apply it, so that you finally kind of get your own way of working with spirit. And I know you work totally different than I do with spirit. And it's just, you got to resonate with it. And if you're beginning, work with your family and friends to do it, to get that experience. Take some classes, because like Cindy Kaye's class, and I'll sing her praises all the time because she's amazing and very humble. But what you do is you go into these classes, there was 40 of us, and then they break off into groups, and they're able to practice whatever it is that she's teaching, right? And then they come back as a whole. And then after the class is done, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had like a 3-hour class, right? And then after it was over, she set up a page for just that class. So in other words, we had already gotten together. We already had different stages of stuff, and we communicate on a private page or a private group with what's going on. And if anybody has some questions, we answer or ask each other, and everybody puts input to it. That's how you start. That's how you do. That's why so many people have to be so careful when you're out there, because there's a lot of what I'll call false prophets
And
out there.
also understanding the messages that are coming into you sometimes are not literal. A
Right.
really good example, one of my favorite examples is back when I was pregnant with Stacy and Tracy, my father-in-law, he did this. He was super psychic. I mean, oh my gosh, he was amazing. He could just look at you or look at a picture of you and tell you where every birthmark, every scar was.
That's crazy.
I mean, he was phenomenal. But he asked him, I was getting ready. I was getting close to that delivery date. And I was asking him how I was going to go into labor. And he said I was going to go into labor on the toilet. So from that point forward, I was paranoid. Every time I went to the bathroom, I'm like, because, first of all, I'm pregnant with twins. But what happened was I got admitted in, what's the word? They went ahead and gave me the epidural and the Pitocin. Induced. Oh, couldn't even think of it. Induced because when I'd gone for my checkup, I had protein in my urine. I had toxemia, and so that's how it was. He saw the toilet, and I just kept thinking, I'm going to be sitting on the toilet, and I'm going into labor. But they found protein in my urine, and that's when I went in and got induced.
And that's what it meant. I mean, we get symbolism. Everybody gets symbolism differently. I did a reading. It's been a couple months now, and I'll tell you what, I still laugh at this because she brought it up after the reading was done. I kept seeing shake and bake, like
shake and bake. Yep, it's shake and bake, and I helped.
And I said all through this while we've been working with you, it was an hour, and I said I keep seeing shake and bake, and all week before the read, because it was scheduled, I said I kept seeing shake and bake, like it would show up on ads, or it would be like I go to the store and they had a big end cap full of shake and bake, and I'm like, what the hell, right? So I told her, I said, they're bringing up that dang shake and bake. And she didn't say anything. She was very straight-faced because that's the way I asked them to do it. So at the end, I said, you know what? I'm still seeing the dang shake and bake, and I'm seeing a full chicken, like being cut up. And then right next to the sink by the shake and bake. And so when we finished, we were getting ready to go. She goes, I got to tell you. I says, what? She says, I've been seeing shake and bake for the past week. Like for real, like she'd go to the same thing, She says, so I want to show you something. And she walked me into her kitchen, and right on the kitchen counter next to the sink was a box of shake and bake and a bag of chicken. And she goes, and there was a message behind that she understood. But she says,
right.
She says, I don't even live near you. How in the, I go, I don't know. They've been driving me crazy with chicken and shake and bake. I says, I actually wanted to use it because I was like, oh yeah, I would like some shake and bake on my chicken. So everything is symbolism. I'm
right.
shown things with symbolism, and you have to remember that you can't be super specific because then you rule out what's happening.
Right, exactly. Like he was just saying, he saw the toilet, and I turned it into me actually sitting literally on the toilet and going into labor, and that never happened. But as soon as it did happen, I was like, I would never have thought that. So that helped me along the way when I started actually getting the confidence to do it and to give people the messages. It's trusting yourself, trusting what's coming to you, because so many times you'll have something come to you and you'll question it. Like you're like, what is this shake and bake about? Why am I being shown shake and bake? So you got to trust those things, and just as crazy as it may seem, as weird or out of place as it may seem, tell the person what is coming to you, because they're going to be able to relate one way or another. Maybe shake and bake, it could be someone's was their favorite meal. You know what I mean? It could have been related in all kinds of ways.
That's why I think that when people start and they start working with family and friends to do reads, they also need a mentor. And I know that may sound crazy, but I'll tell you what, any good person that will mentor is not going to charge you to mentor.
No.
They're going to give you tasks. They're going to work with you to.
But let's go back just a second. They may not charge you, but you also have to be considerate of their time.
Yes, yes.
Because I've had people in the years past that they just want to eat all your time up. It's
Yep.
like, look, I have other things to do. I have a life to live. I can't sit and talk to you 24/7 to help you.
Absolutely, 100%. I actually had that comment with Ruthie the other day. Last week I was talking with her, and I said, I was sitting here today. I don't even know how we got on the subject. I said, I was sitting here the other day, and I think back all the years when we did radio and, been online and how we promote. I mean, we promoted a lot of people. I promoted a lot of people. I've networked so that people of like minds that were looking for somebody, I put them together. And I said, so I promote all this. And I says, you know what? I could count on a hand just with my fingers, not my thumb, how many people have ever promoted me.
Yeah.
And I said, so then at some point, then at some point you got to say, that's it, I'm done. And I'm to that point. I and I don't mean they have to pay you. It doesn't mean that, but
just share your stuff.
You need
share and let other people help other people see that person's stuff.
Yeah. So that's why we're telling you, and there's a lot of plastic, I'll call them, that's what they are. They're plastic psychics, I guess is one way to put them. And you really have to do your homework and find somebody that really resonates with you. And by God, you don't need to pay $500 for a class on how to read, nor this is another pet peeve of mine. Do you go to a psychic that when they're drawing cards or they're reading, they're opening a freaking book?
Yes, exactly.
I know what the angel means, and they're not really great readers to begin with. So they're like trying to read this, and it's like anybody can read a book. It's about the freaking connection. So you see people doing that, you need to see their butt in your rear view mirror, and you need to go. You just need to go, because it's just not. All right. So okay. So all right. Medicine pouches.
Spiritually light psychics. There's Ruth. We spoke her name, but you must have said her name 3 times. She showed up like Ruthie.
Well, but it's true. Oh, yeah, she is here. Ta-da! Yeah, there you go. Annie calls them spiritually light psychics. Yeah, that's a way to put them, too. Okay, so talismans. Like we're talking like you had your statue that somebody gave you for protection. What are some of the other things that you would use for yourself or recommend for other people as
well, this is another one that I keep. It's my raven, my little stone raven that I keep, and this one is my office raven. This one has to always be in my office. It don't stay in my house. This is the one that is wherever I'm working. So
that's beautiful.
And I have some at home that are specifically for this room or for that room to help protect the energy or cleanse the space or keep freaking spirits out. There's one thing that I do is I hang a broom over all of the entries to my home.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I can't hang a broom over every door that goes to outside to help keep negativity and enemies out.
Well, I use sweetgrass.
Yeah.
I have sweetgrass over the 2 doors in the house, and then I have dream catchers that are not far from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do that too. Another thing that I've done since I was a teenager is the medicine pouch, the medicine bags. Yeah. That's actually my medicine bag. And I've had several, but I've always made them. And I carry them when I worked at the hospital, especially up in ICU and HEMOC. So I worked with a lot of cancer patients and stuff. I always had that with me. And the inside of it was things that would connect me to my power, to what I get as validation to be able to do what I do. And then over the years, you can subtract and take things out and put new things in. The only thing with them, and this was taught to me by one of my elders, is you never allow anybody to touch your medicine pouch
No,
or
no,
look
no.
into your medicine pouch, because it's not theirs and it will
Right,
taint. But
right.
that's a big thing. And I know the Druids, I believe, do that, something similar like that with runes. So they keep the runes that they work with in a bag, and nobody else can touch them but the people that read them or utilize them.
Right.
Do you use any other stuff or no?
Well, yeah, I have different things that I use that I don't really let anybody else touch or mess with. They're just mine and for me. I remember I've got my talking stick. I made you one at one time.
Yep,
and you made me one back as well. And, you know, those things are like, no one touches those. They're put in a place where that's not for everybody.
When you first, like, not when you first knew you could read, but when you first got the confidence, where did that come from? Who brought you through to, yes, this is what you got to do?
Spirit. I mean, you know, because it's one of those moments where, and I don't remember the exact moment, but there are moments where spirit does not leave you alone. They are right there, repeating again and again. Do this, do this, do this. Like, remember the lady in the circle that I gave her the crystal that was so depressed.
Yeah.
Spirit would not leave me alone until I gave her that stinking crystal. You know, and I had no idea. I just had to trust it. And that first week, I didn't trust it. And I was worried about what she might think of me or what she might say. Because, you know, I could tell there was something wrong with her.
Right.
And you just, so it was just somewhere along the line. And the more I trusted what I was given, the more that I followed through, the more confidence I got. And like there was a simple thing. I remember being in Illinois working on my website, and I'd had a migraine for about 5 days. And at that point, I took migraine medication, prescription medication for migraines. Nothing was touching it.
Right.
And Spirit said to me very gently, get up, grab the amethyst that's on the bookcase behind you, and go lay down. So I, like a robot, I got up, I grabbed the amethyst. I had 3 amethysts sitting on a pile of quartz. And I grabbed that amethyst. I went upstairs. I laid down in bed, had it clenched in my fist. I freaking fell asleep. And I woke up with it still in my fist, no headache. And I was like, what the heck? And I didn't even know how much time had passed. And I ran down straight to my computer. What are the metaphysical properties of amethyst? First thing on there is headaches.
Yep.
Relieves headaches. I said, well, didn't they just tell me this 5 days ago?
Because they want us to use the connection and trust that connection. As a kid, I could see and hear. I actually saw spirit. I actually talked to animals and didn't realize that other people couldn't hear them. And to this day, I mean, I know what's going on with a particular, like even a bird that would lay, I know I can hear them. And I didn't know other people couldn't. Then when I found out other people couldn't, I kind of pushed it away and I didn't want to let people to know. And then when I got in my teens, I started, but then it scared the crap out of me because I was getting messages, you know, a lot of messages I deal with are about death and transitions and stuff like that. But I've learned how to understand it better and how to help people with it now. But back then it was scary. So I kept pushing it away and they get put back in.
Well, there wasn't internet for us to go to and meet like-minded people. We had no idea there was anyone else there that was out there like us. So you were more isolated than we are now.
Yeah, I feel, this is the way I feel. We paved the way, right, for the people that are there now, because it's so much bigger than just, you know, go to the library and buy a book from Sandra Brown or, I know, Rosemary Altea was one of my first that I met and I actually learned from, and she's phenomenal. She's from the UK. She lives here in Michigan now. But I was fascinated because I knew, wow, I'm not crazy. This stuff really does happen. But that was all like during the 70s and 80s. When I got into my 30s, I had a friend that I met, Miss Margot. She's the bone reader and she's here in Michigan. She's the only bone reader of like maybe out of 2 or 3, like Mexico, Canada, Michigan, and the tribe condoned her. And she throws, they say, yeah, you can do it. She throws the bones, right? She was at my house one time and she's turning around and she said to me, why aren't you reading for real? And I said, what? She says, why aren't you reading for real? I said, well, it's a big responsibility and I don't want to make a mistake. She goes, you don't make a mistake when you trust spirit.
That's right.
She put her hands out like this to me and said, I want you to take my hands. And I'm like, I don't really think I wanna. She goes, no, I want you to take my hands. And we connected like this. And she said, now I want you to read me. And I'm like, oh, poop. Like, no, this is not going to. She goes, no, I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to tell me things that you don't know about me, but are coming through for you.
Trust what you're seeing, what you're hearing.
And I did. And she goes, so what was so hard about that? I go, well, nothing, because you were holding my arms and I knew you weren't going to smack me, but that opened me up and gave me trust.
Yeah.
So don't go out looking for psychic after psychic after psychic. Find somebody you trust. And if you're working and want to do this for people, do it for the right reasons.
Yes, exactly.
Do it so you can assist people and help them. I think that's such a big, important thing that a lot of times it gets out of control. I mean, when you look online, some of these, and I mean, I'm not saying they're not good, but I'm not going to spend $1,000 for a 15-minute reading.
Oh, yeah. There are people that charge that. That's insane what they want to charge people. They get,
it's like
too big for their britches.
It's kind of like the same thing with the churches that get up and they're, I'll put a prayer up for you, send me $20. And and I'm like, no. And that's kind of what it is. For me, it is anyway. This is a calling. Yeah. It's not, believe me, I live very simply, and I know you do too. I mean, we're not rich. We're not, I laugh when people say that. It's like, oh, you're probably rich and roll. No, I struggle many times.
Yep.
All right.
Because we don't charge people outrageous amounts, and it's not charging for what we do. It's charging for our time because there are other things that we could be doing to bring in money. To pay our bills.
Yeah, we do have bills. Yeah, we don't have any sugar angels helping us.
No, I sure don't have a sugar angel, not me. I'm it.
Well, this is also interesting that I found. Now, Druids, that's Irish, right? Irish Celt. They actually have some really cool. They use the runes and their religion, and this I found really interesting because this is the stag. They're using drums. They have the labyrinth symbols on their drums, and it's earth medicine, I guess.
Yeah. And they often mix runes with bones as well, quite often.
I find the Green Man, I believe, comes from that, but it's all about the earth and the elements, and that's how they move forward with their beliefs. And I don't find, people say, like voodoo and druids, that's witchcraft. I guess you could call it whatever you want, label it whatever you want, but as long as they're doing it for a good reason or a good purpose, I find no problems with that.
Right.
This is something I found that I thought.
You can find evil anywhere.
Yeah. Any way you want to twist it, you can.
Yeah.
This I found, which I thought was beautiful. This is from Mexico. And this is how they do like Santeria, I think it's called. And it's got like Catholicism in it. They took it, but that's old too. I thought that was such a beautiful carving, and they use bright colors. And the Day of the Dead down in Louisiana, in New Orleans, Louisiana, and down in Mexico, it's colorful, it's bright. They celebrate the spirits. They celebrate their people that are in the spirit lands. Yeah. I think it's beautiful. Although I don't think I'd go as far as, I want to say it's either Argentina or I think it's Argentina, where they take the bodies, the skeletal body remains of their family members, and they dress them and they
Yeah.
keep them and they talk to them and give them food and have chats with them. That's a little, I mean, I respect it if that's what they want to do, but I don't think I'd want to do that. Not
No,
my cup of tea, but
not my thing. Not my cup of tea either. No way.
it's pretty cool though. All right, so here I'm gonna put this up again because Holly has this book. Tell them about the book.
This is a journal, actually. It's got the angel numbers, it's got meditations, it's got grounding, it's got smudging, it's got affirmations, and every journal page there's like 100 or so journal pages in there for you to journal. It's got writing prompts and motivation and inspirational messages on every single page, and plenty of room for you to write and journal whatever it is your heart desires.
And they can get it
on Amazon. Yep.
Okay.
Those are available in paperback on Amazon.
Okay, cool.
You can go to hljenkins.com and it takes you to my author page that has all of my books, including the newest one, The Animal Superpowers, the great big book of animal superpowers, where I've turned every animal into a superhero and their spiritual what's the word? Aspects are their superpowers.
Mm-hmm. But you've got some really good stuff for kids too, and check it out. They're pretty cool. The only thing I got out right now for me, including my bowls, is I have the deck. We Are All Related. I use it every Tuesday. This is a deck that I put together through Spirit. This is the third edition, actually. It's a little updated, some of the stuff, and that's on my website as well at bearmedicinewalker.com. I am not as quick as Holly is because I do have a new book and deck coming, but because of just health issues that I've had this year and this breaking my leg kind of screwed me up. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you busted your leg, did you have to wear a cast?
Nope. I have 2 screws. They are still in me. I have 2 screws in my knee and a screw in my hip. I have a steel rod that runs down my leg, through the center of my bone, holding my leg together, because my bone was crushed in the center.
Yeah, I didn't crush mine, but I've got a hinge in mine, so I've got screws and a hinge. It's on the top of the femur and then down to the long bone, so it's hinged when I move. And I'm asking this because we were talking about stress and how people need to relax yesterday. I was talking a little bit about it, and I told people, take a deep breath and just sit there. And I said, you won't even realize until you make your brain do this, that if you just sit there and say, I want my jaw to relax, you can relax your
jaw, relax your back, relax your legs, whatever it may be. Absolutely.
And that's why I was bringing this up, because earlier last week, I have a hard time laying on my left side because of that hinge. I mean, I can feel it, and when I walk, it clicks, which is another situation, but I can't lay on that side unless I do the 7 breaths and I get my body and all my muscles to relax.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a self-healing thing. Now, do you have, and I'm talking about this because.
Yes. And another thing, have you tried theta healing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That for me is just absolutely amazing. It's magic. It is pure magic. So I do that quite a lot. I will turn on some theta music and I will meditate with that music going on in my head. So, oh my gosh. Theta healing that's the stuff.
And that's just it. You can look at all these different countries.
Amethyst, Margaret, is good for a headache. Go get you a piece of amethyst and lay down and relax for a little bit with that amethyst. Make sure it's touching your skin. Put it in your bra or hold it in your hand or wherever you want to put it.
Absolutely, 100%. But that's I guess the kind of the whole point of today's thing. We can have things, tools, right? Or people that can assist us in healing or doing work.
Yep, theta.
But a lot of it depends on ourselves, where you have to like I want to meet someone that I love. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to you can't depend on other people for happiness, joy, love, any of that. It has to start at home.
Right. Well, so I say when you set your intentions and it has to do with love, you don't want to just meet someone. You don't want just love. You've had some symbolism of love in your life before. How'd that work out? You want a long lasting, loving, balanced relationship. That's what you're looking for. Long lasting, loving, and balanced relationship. The relationship that fits who you are, that fits your life.
That I don't anymore because people know how I read. And I'll tell them flat out when I'm on radio shows or whatever, don't ask me the question, is my ex going to ever get back with me? Because your ex is your ex for a reason, right?
Right.
Or, when am I going to get a new job? Well, maybe if you go out and do the work, you'll get a new job. That's not what we do. We'll tell you.
Those are the most popular questions. When am I going to meet the love of my life? Is he or she the one? Oh my God. Do you even know the person? Do you even like the person? If you're asking, then no. The answer is always no if you have to ask.
Well, it's like the exes. Like, why in God's name, even if they were the ones that broke it up, why in God's name would you want to have them back?
You're just revisiting. And the thing is, what happened in the past? So this, a lot of times people, what's the word? Romanticize their past. They take one good moment out of a really stormy, terrible past, and they focus on that one beautiful moment they might have had, trying to get that moment back. Well, that moment has come and gone. That moment is not coming back. But that's what they're looking for, is that one tiny perfect moment in a terrible long relationship.
Absolutely.
And it just doesn't happen like that.
Well, and it's like, I don't know. I just look at it. I don't know if it's people being broken. Part of them is broken that they don't realize. And I tell this to people all the time on the Tuesday stream as well. It's like, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, love yourself, like yourself. You have everything you need. We are born with everything we need to get through. You don't have to look at people to curse somebody. Why would you do that? That's a negativity.
Right. That's terrible.
Why would you do that? That's not good. Lucifer is said to have gotten tossed out of heaven for that kind of crap, right? So why would you do that kind of stuff? It's not kind. We need to be kinder to ourselves and each other and have empathy and compassion. And I'm really sad that in 2023, we've lost that a lot as a whole, not individuals, all individuals, but as a whole, society has lost that. I grew up during the Detroit riots. I saw racism at its worst. I saw Vietnam War that took many of my friends and family. We saw the towers go down. And I thought, yeah, we're all behind that now. And it's like the ugly got all rooted up again, and we're there again. So I guess I just looked at people, don't go to plastic, fake healers, psychics, whatever. You shouldn't be paying $500, $1,000 for a half-hour read. That's just ridiculous. Okay, get a mentor. And there's plenty of us out there.
And just because they charge that amount of money does not mean that they are good at what they do. They are good at taking your money. I'm not saying they're bad at what they do. I'm just saying
they're pretty smart at it, I guess, as far as that goes. I just don't. It's like a different world now out there for people that do what we do.
Some people do associate, like, oh, you get what you pay for. Not always, especially when it comes to this.
And I know Holly does, and I do, and I know there's a number of people out there that do. If you can't afford even what we charge, we can barter with something else, or you can help advertise us or our goods or our websites, whatever.
Just like what we do, just like it, and you don't necessarily always have to share. I always try to go down every day as when I have that moment and see the people that are in my circle, and I like what they do. I may not always share it, I may not always comment, but I'm liking what I actually heart everything, because now the algorithm likes the hearts, it ignores the thumbs up. So I make sure to heart everything that I possibly can in a day.
And it's the positives. It's the positives that help us. It's the, you know, I tell people this all the time. If you're in a bad way, I don't care 24/7 what time it is. If you don't have my phone number, you have my messenger or Instagram or whatever, and I'll be there. If I can be there anyway, maybe I don't answer you that second, but I will get back to you ASAP. Usually it's because I can't move quick enough.
Right. Right. As soon as I can get to you, I'm getting to you. You got to remember, we're like everybody else. We have a lot going on in our lives, and we can't be at your beck and call, but we are there to help.
I just, my daughter said to me, and my son-in-law said to me a couple months back, because the phone was ringing, or my computer was ringing, and it was like at 11 o'clock at night my time, and they're like, who's calling you at this? And it's important to me, and I know it's important to you, that we're there for those people, because that's not normal. That's not a normality that happens. And I will respond and I will answer. And they just, my kids looked at me and were like, wow, that's a lot. But that's also what I went to school for. So I have to do that too, you know? So that all comes into it. And Holly and I both, you know, if you need a recommendation, we know plenty of people we can help you with if we can't help you. And yeah, you know, do a little bit of deep dive, but don't use YouTube or social media to find out answers. That's just the most, it's like Alice in Wonderland on drugs, going down the hole to see the Queen of Hearts. Okay. It's just not. And it drives me nuts. I saw something today, somebody posted, and I was like, seriously? That's not what it said at all. That's not what it's about. Then you go to like the Mayo Clinic and you go to all these other places, and then you get that and you put it there. So don't go diving deep in YouTube videos, conspiracy thoughts, or, oh my gosh, the victim role. Everybody, you know, the victim
because
role.
Believing in things, you're manifesting. The more you get all twisted and tied into all that stuff, you know, you're manifesting it. You're bringing it into your life. So you got to stop that. You got to build the life that you want and forget about all that other stuff that's going on in the world. Let that be, you know, what it is.
My favorite joy is when people put that all aside and it becomes this beautiful thing. And they're like, why didn't I do this before? That's the most beautiful thing that you can do. Find yourself, love yourself, like yourself. All right. So from this bear, I'll say bye. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week.
Yeah, and Bear's on TikTok now. So go check her out on TikTok and follow her.
Yeah, I didn't put anything up today, so yay, bad on me. All right, guys, we love you all. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week, same time. Okay? Bye,
Have a great day, everybody.
Oh, let me find out. Where am I going to do this time? All right. Bye, all.